All right, here is video 3 on lesson 3 of unit 5 here. We're talking completing the square. So this is the first one within the lesson notes itself. The first two were actually based on just simply learning how to do completing the square. So if we dive right in here, our first example starts with number 9. But this will be the first time we've seen an example where we have x and y terms to work with. So again, the bottom line here is we have a general form equation that we want to, first of all, identify what it is, what type of conic section it is, and second, we want to convert that to the standard form. So first thing we're going to do, I'm going to note here in green. In example 9, we have only one squared term. So when we first did this, we looked at this as either a equals 0 or c equals 0 in the general form equation. And what that means is, with only one squared term, this is referred to then as a parabola. So we have that to work with, and we need to now just complete the square and get this thing into standard form. So using blue and a little bit thinner pen, excuse me, let's get started. So back to that step-by-step completing the square. Let me pull this back up. Maybe I'll refer back to this once in a while here. Step 1 is to group the x squared and x terms together. Then we'll factor out any coefficients in front of the x squared term. We will add half of the x term coefficient. We will subtract that same number outside the parentheses, and then we will rewrite that as a perfect square. So again, step 1 is just grouping things together. So we'll have, let's see. So I'm going to do, again, I'm going to note it as like step 1. And we just want x squared minus 6x grouped together. And then I'll just continue. Minus 2y plus 5 is 0. Step 2 then was where we, step 2 we have to factor out the a. Well, there is no coefficient in front of x squared. So I'm going to call that no change. Again, just because I'm going step by step through this. Typically what you would do is probably just skip the step altogether and go to number 3. Number 3, we are going to take half of this coefficient here, the negative 6 technically, but we're going to take half of that and square it. We're going to add that to the inside of the parentheses. So what that looks like, we say x squared. All we did was simply add 1/2 of this 6 term squared in the parentheses. Step 4, we go ahead and we repeat kind of what we did here, x squared minus 6x plus 9. And then here at step 4 it says add that, so minus 2y plus 5. It says subtract that same number that you did from the inside of parentheses, subtract it from the outside of parentheses. Again, what we're trying to get at is we had x squared minus 6x and then minus 2y plus 5. Well, if we have a plus 9 in the parentheses, we now have a new equation, so we're going to say also minus 9. So in the end, the plus 9 minus 9 cancel. We're back to what we started with, but with a purpose. We want to, in fact, in step 5 here, step 5 says to write this expression as a perfect square. So when we factor that out, we say x minus 3 squared minus 2y there. So again, trying to factor this trinomial x squared minus 6x plus 9, it is in fact a perfect square where it's x minus 3 squared. So now I'm going to go beyond the steps of completing the square because now we need to get this thing into standard form. The standard form for a parabola is does not look like this. We have just x minus 3 squared on one side and then the rest on the other. So I'm going to kind of keep going here. So x minus 3 squared equals, now I'm going to move everything to the other side, equals 2y plus 9 minus 5 equals plus 4. Now we're not quite, again, in the standard form yet. What we need to do is one more step. So x minus 3 squared, and then we're going to take the 2 out front, y plus 2. We're going to factor that because the general form says 4p times the quantity y minus k. So I'm going to change that to green, I'll box it in a little thicker, and there's our answer. Okay, that's what we do. I'm going to leave this as its own video, honestly. I was going to try and get another example in, but the next two, I will probably do 10 and 12. They each have their own little quirks, and I know that it'll take too long for it to fit into one video. So I'll pause here and we'll make the next example a new video.